Welcome back to Bumblebee. Here are the top 10 unholy artifacts from history that will curse you. Kicking off our list at number 10, a cursed phone number. The song 8675309/Jenny has been stuck in my head for about 18 years now. It's a classic. That song is a banger. Great jingle too. Imagine if a pizza place figured that number out first. Would have been game over. A cursed phone number. What are we talking about here? This phone number, apparently cursed, is 359-888 and then a bunch of 8s afterwards, okay? What's the deal here? Anybody who's had this phone number in the last 20 years or so, apparently they've all met their fate in a weird way. CEO of a Bulgarian phone company, he got cancer at 48. And then 2 criminals later on, both of their deaths were a little bit more mysterious than cancer. All these deaths that happened were within 4 years of each other. That's the, curse aspect of it all. The phone number was suspended, so nobody's able to use it now. Maybe it was a cursed number, or maybe the number had ties to crime. 8675309 is still stuck in my head. Number 9. The organ. Music is said to bring life into the room, but this time it's a bit too literal for my liking. There is a real organ in the Occult Museum. This belonged to Ed and Lorraine Warren for quite a while, the paranormal investigators. Of course, all these things are found in a haunted house. In one way or another, it's haunted or cursed, as are all these in this list. This organ apparently would play by itself throughout the night. In total, there were 3 different incidents where Ed thought somebody had broken into the museum because he heard the organ being played, but by the time he arrived in a panic, the room was empty. Classic. Nothing had been touched, there was no visitors. Of course, it was just a cursed piano. Nice. A priest then came to bless the museum and the music eventually stopped. But before her passing, Lorraine Warren said to USA Today that the prayers do work, and they blind the evil much like an electric fence does for a dog. Number 8. Photograph of Bathsheba Sherman. You always see these videos of UFOs and they're filmed with like a BlackBerry curve. It's just rubbish, it's horrible quality. There's never clear evidence of anything nowadays, right? But we may just have a clear photo with the real Bathsheba Sherman, the witch in the original Conjuring film, that real person in real life. Yeah, we have a real photo of a real witch. This is crazy. This photo is from the Perron family farmhouse back when it was still the Arnold estate. This was 1885, so the witch was most likely in her 70s at this time, and this witch lived next door to said farm, and although we'll never really know for sure, many believe she's the lady in the middle closest to the camera. Also, the fact that she's wearing some sort of mask and she's standing by herself and looks like a witch, I don't know, definitely her, most definitely her. I feel like nobody wants to stand next to a literal witch, It's like a big radius around her. That's how you know it's her. Imagine doing a silly one with Bathsheba Sherman. You're like, hey, bunny ears, don't curse me. Number 7, the Bassano Vase. This vase comes from the 15th century. It was made for an excellent wedding gift, but the night before, the bride sadly lost her life with the vase still in her hands, so a lot of questions, right? The family of course kept it afterwards, but as the vase was passed down the family line, a pattern began to unveil itself. Whomever held possession of the Bassano Vase died shortly after in a weird way. Now keep in mind, this was the 15th century, okay? The average lifespan was already 30 to 40 years old. But after this many deaths in the family, it was packed away for good, okay? Or so they thought. This vase showed up again in history in 1988 alongside a single note. The note was pretty to the point. It said, "Beware, this vase brings death." End of note. Whoever found it was like, okay. And then continued on with it. Yeah, they kept the vase, didn't heed the warning, and then it was auctioned for over $2,000 sans note. Yeah, the pharmacist who won the auction, well, you guessed it, they passed away within months. Number 6, ghost boots. These boots are made for haunting, and that's just what they'll do. Yeah, I put a pair of boots on this list. That's where we're at now. Let's do it. This is a photo of a young lady and it may look like a classic family trip, but upon closer inspection, it seems like somebody is standing behind her. Now, of course, tracing this photo back to its origins, her father said nobody was behind her at this time, that it was taken, because that would be pretty weird, right? Hey, stand right here in an open field, thanks. Hey, can you move please? There's an open field. Thanks. It's a little weird. This shot was taken at Zushi Kanagawa in Japan. You can see boots and what looks like clothing sticking out from behind her elbow. Father said, "I took a few photos. When I was looking through them at night, I noticed the boots behind her. I took several in the same spot, but only one of these photos had the boots." Yeah, you always see that in movies, right? They're always going through these photos at night at like 2 a.m. Then they find something scary. It's never at Walmart in the middle of the day. Know what I mean? It's always scary in a dark kitchen. Ugh. What would you do? I would freak out. And he freaked out, obviously. He showed a friend, and then said friend posted it on Reddit, hence why we're here now. Haunted boots, the more you know. Number 5, the Anguished Man. Historical paintings are cool, I guess. I don't know, they're pretty interesting. But this is the first time I've read up on the Anguished Man myself, and I wish I didn't, to be honest. It's pretty unsettling. It's now considered one of the most haunted objects in the world, and it looks like the part too. It looks like it's from a horror movie. This oil painting was created by, of course, an unknown artist, but the actual paint here used in the painting is mixed with blood, real blood. Their legit DNA is in this painting, whoever it is. Their blood, sweat, and tears. Great. Not much is known of the artist as they passed away shortly after, but the current owner is Sean Robinson from Cumbria, England. His grandmother had given him said painting. There wasn't much known beforehand. Maybe she just found it at an auction, whatever. But his grandmother did warn him that it was cursed. Yeah, here's some Werther's original, and also here's a cursed painting. Enjoy. Sean had to leave it in his basement at first because his wife wasn't on board. More than fair. I'd be like, no, can we not? Can we turn it around? Thanks. But when the basement randomly flooded, he had to move it upstairs at that point, which is already pretty creepy. Now after, the couple heard crying or screams or whispering, things you don't want to hear alone in a house with a haunted painting coming from the room with the painting. It got so bad Robinson uploaded time-lapse footage to YouTube in 2011, and it shows the door closing by itself next to the painting. Also, yeah, keep this in the basement or flood it, I don't care. I agree with the missus here. Number 4. Music box. We had to include one of the creepiest elements of the Conjuring movie because it's a real thing. Director James Wan wanted to use the music box in the first film because, you know, mirrors and creepy tones make for great suspense and all that jazz. But this was also a real haunted artifact from their real haunted house. Today the box is safely stored in the Warrens Occult Museum, like I mentioned before, just a fun house, a scary that you should definitely never touch, alongside other items that look more or less normal, right? One of which is the REAL Annabelle Doll. This part of the movie actually scared the shit out of me. Any mirror scene, I can't do it. I end up eating my hoodie. They always do it slow too. I hate movie scenes that include mirrors. But this is real life though, you can't forget that. This music box actually caused a lot of trouble for these poor girls. Specifically April, youngest of the Perron family. She found this unique antique in the house and then she used it to communicate to another spirit. A spirit that just happened to be named Rory. Yeah, it's a great haunted name, Rory. Nice, it's not friendly at all. In the movie, this was a happy ending, whatever, but in real life, the Bathsheba Sherman case was never resolved. Number 3, the Hope Diamond Curse. Coming from the 1660s, here we go. This curse began when a gem dealer named Jean-Baptiste Tavernier bought this large diamond when visiting India. Or so he said, he bought it. The origins of the diamond were unknown, but it didn't matter. This beauty was just sitting there. Well, later on, after he got the diamond, rumors started spreading throughout Europe and the United States that Tavernier actually stole the diamond from a statue of a Hindu goddess. Yeah, that sounds a little more on the nose. That's a bit more accurate. A little different than his story, but sadly a little more believable. The newspapers actually kicked this one off by publishing the Hope Diamond as an ancient curse. That ought to help, right? That spreads the word, I guess. The diamond at one point ended up in the hands of King Louis XVI and his wife, Marie Antoinette. Now, if you don't know about them, they were, they had some rough history happen with their heads being off their body and stuff. They lost their lives during the French Revolution, to say the least. The guillotine dream team, that's what we call them. The stone then went to Lord Francis Hope come 1839, and by that point it was deemed cursed. This is when it got the name the Hope Diamond, right? They ended up selling said diamond shortly after being reduced to poverty, and then Evelyn Walsh McLean bought the stone in 1912. Shortly after that, her son was killed in a car accident. When the stone was delivered to its final and current home, the Smithsonian, back in 1958, the driver who was delivering the package was later hit by a truck. Now he survived, but shortly after his house caught fire. Moral of the story, you don't need diamonds, for more reasons than one. Number 2, the Busby Stoop chair. Coming from 1702, 10 years after the Salem witch trials, so take this one with a grain of salt. People made odd choices back then, okay? Women were witches because they knew math, and chairs were evil. Welcome to 1702, good luck. Englishman Thomas Busby had some issues with his father-in-law. He didn't handle them well, so now he had to be hanged for it. Yeah, he can't commit crimes to resolve problems. It's not a good thing. Can't just kill people for no reason, Thomas. What is this, 1692? He was hanged near the Humble Inn, which is an ironic name, but a chair that was nearby is now said to hold the spirit of one Thomas Busby. If you sit on this chair, you are set to die in a frightful accident. So the chair was declared haunted, but did anything actually happen? Yeah. Locals say during World War II, airmen from a nearby base came to the pub, and those who sat on it never returned. And then in the 70s, more accidents were connected, but they still kept it around until 1978. Yeah, it stayed in the inn for that long. until it was donated to the Thirsk Museum. It's not even a rocking chair either. It looks like it should be a rocking chair, but it's not a rocking chair. That's the scariest part in my opinion. You try and lean back, you're like, oh, I really thought it was gonna rock there. Damn, it's disappointing. And finally, number 1, a ghost caught in a photograph. Yeah, this one ought to end the list in a pretty bizarre way. Doesn't matter where or when, but odds are you've seen this photo at some point in your life. You know when you see a photo, sometimes you just get bad vibes, like it registers in your brain as something scary but also real. Like you want to find something that looks fake about this photo, but it's tough. This photo was taken inside the Amityville house in 1976. It's a young lad with glowing white eyes, kind of hard to miss. It was taken with automatic cameras equipped with infrared, and it makes it even creepier that the boy looks like he's peeking around the corner. Nice, just hiding from you in his invisible ghost land. We love it. A photographer named Gene Campbell took this photo, and Gene at the time was working with paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren. This photo was revealed 3 years after it was taken on the Merv Griffin show, and many believe this is the ghost of one John DeFeo, one of the boys who lived there prior to that 1974 event. Yeah, we're still trying to figure this out. What do you guys think? Elaborate hoax, or perhaps this is one solid piece of evidence that the Amityville house is indeed haunted and ghosts are indeed real? I've been your host, Taylor McWaters. We'll see you next time on Bumblebee. Thanks for watching. Bye.